able to hear me? Please confirm. Fine. ठीक है सर. So GSTR 9, let's start. GSTR 9 is the annual return. Requirement is from section 44 and GST audit 35 subsection 5. Read with rule 80. What is annual return? Every registered person other than input service distributor, TDS, TCS, CTP, NRTP. CTP means casual taxable person or NRTP means non-resident taxable person. Furnish an annual return for every financial year electronically in such form on or before 31st day of December following the end of the financial year. And what is the form number? Rule 80 says GSTR 9 for regular, composite dealer 9A and e-commerce operator 9B. What was the changes in the date? For example, my point is whether the date extended in the GST Act or rules for the GSTR 9, will it be issued by the removal of the difficulty order or they will issue the notification? For extension of the date, what they will issue? Either they will issue the ROD or they will issue the notification. Till 31st December 2019, it was ROD, and after that they have inserted the proviso which says that commissioner can extend the date by notification. So I hope you all remember that for financial year 17-18, the date was extended by issuing the removal of the difficulty order, but with effect from this date, whenever the date is extending, it is issued or it is extended by way of notification. GST audit 35(5), section 44(2) and rule 80 sub rule 3. Every registered person whose turnover exceeds the prescribed limit shall get his accountant audited by a chartered accountant or cost accountant and shall submit the copy of annual account and the reconciliation statement in subsection 44 subsection 2 and such other document as may be prescribed. GST audit was not applicable on the controllers if the audit are subjected to the CAG, Comptroller Auditor General of India, or any auditor appointed by the local authority under any law. Now we all know that 35 subsection 5 has been deleted. 35 subsection 5 has been deleted, meaning thereby going forward, yet we need to wait the effective date of this omission. We are expecting that either it will be financial year 2021 or 21-22. That is okay, no problem. They will clarify that when this notification will come into effect, they have deleted this provision at all. After that, there is no requirement of GST audit. They have just removed the attestation or certification by a chartered accountant, but it doesn't mean that 9C has been omitted or the reconciliation requirement has been omitted. No, sir. Yet we need to provide the reconciliation statement instead of the DSC or attestation by chartered accountant or cost accountant. Taxpayer himself can assign his digital signature. And the turnover, we need to read the turnover in the state, section 2 clause 112 versus aggregate turnover, section 2 clause 6. Every registered person who is required to get his account audited in accordance with 35(5) shall furnish the annual return, copy of audited annual accounts, and the reconciliation statement. What is the reconciliation statement? Reconciling the value declared in the return with the audited annual financial statement, meaning thereby whatever the annual return we are furnishing, the figure given in the annual return we need to compare with audited financial statement. For the purpose of this section, it is hereby clarified that annual return for the period July to March 18 shall be furnished on or before that. We know the date has been extended. 35 subsection 3, that every registered person other than those referred to in section 35(5) whose aggregate turnover exceed 2 crore shall get his account audited. So prima facie, as per the requirement, the aggregate turnover exceeding 2 crore. But we all know financial year 18-19 and financial year 19-20, the limit has been enhanced to 5 crore. In other words, we can say if my turnover does not exceed 5 crore, I have the option either file or not to file. That same relaxation was for financial year 19-20 and 18-19 up to 5 crore. I have the option not to furnish. Then relaxation from annual return for financial year 19-20, we can say that whatever the relaxation was there for financial year 18-19, 17-18, they have added the word 19-20 as well. Means all the relaxation which was there for GST 9 for 17-18 and 18-19, the same shall be continued. Now we can say what is the situation for the 9 and 9C for the financial year 19-20. If my aggregate turnover up to 2 crore, then it is optional for 19-20. If my aggregate turnover exceeding 2 crore but up to 5 crore, it is mandatory. I'm talking about annual return. And above 5 crore, again mandatory. For 9C, up to 2 crore, it is not applicable. Greater than 2 crore but up to 5 crore, not required because they have given the relaxation. Greater than 5 crore, it is mandatory. Any question till so far? Okay, sorry. I'll mute 1 minute. Any question till so far you can ask. Okay, fine. I'm moving ahead. Deemed to be furnished, that there was a word that deemed to be furnished. There was one notification 49 dated 9th October 2019. It was saying that if you not furnish, then it will be deemed to be furnished. It was creating a problem. Suppose my turnover does not exceed 2 crore. Then I am not required to furnish the GSTR 9. They are saying that if you will not furnish up to 2 crore, that is okay, but it will be deemed to be furnished. Then immediate question comes into mind. What does it mean? Whether auto-populated data, will be considered for my assessment? Answer is no. Then why they are saying the deemed to be furnished? Friends, there are various dates in the GST which is linked to the date of filing of annual return. Try to understand why they are saying the deemed to be furnished. There are various dates which are linked to the date of the filing of annual return. Suppose if they are saying that up to 2 crore, there is no requirement to file. For example, what happened to those dates? What happened to those dates? It will be open-ended, na? In that case, it is being written that it will be deemed to be furnished. It will be deemed to be furnished, so that if the due date is crossed, up to 2 crore opted not to file, perfectly okay. But their cutoff date would be started from whatever the date, 31st December or extended, whatever the date. Now, one question that I have explained multiple time, one point I have explained multiple time, re-explaining that word aggregate turnover has been defined in GST. It includes all taxable supplies, all exempt supply, export, interstate to be computed on all India basis. What is the meaning of exempt supply? Exempt means nil rated, non-taxable, and which is exempt by way of notification. Exempt include nil rated, exempt by way of notification, or non-taxable. What is the non-taxable? Which is not leviable to tax. Therefore, we can say what is the non-taxable? We normally had the discussion that what is non-taxable? 1 plus 5 is the non-taxable. What is 1? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. What is 5? 5 specified petroleum product like petroleum crude, HSD, motor spirit, natural gases, aviation turbine fuel. So if someone asks that I have the petrol pump, supply of the petrol or sale of the petrol is say suppose 10 crore rupees, and sale of the lubricant oil which is taxable only 1 lakh rupees. Whether I am required to do the audit for the financial year 1920 or not? Sir, petrol is a non-taxable supply which is exempt supply as per this definition, or exempt supply will be added in the aggregate turnover, taxable as well as exempt. I can say for this SSC, what is the turnover? 10.01 crore is the aggregate turnover required to conduct the GST audit. Petrol pump, I have given the example. One more example. Suppose I have registration in these 3 states, Madhya Pradesh, UP and Delhi, and turnover in 1920 are as under. For Madhya Pradesh, it is 3 crore. For UP, it is 2 lakhs. For Delhi, it is nothing. Please tell me whether GST audit is applicable for all the 3 locations or only for the Madhya Pradesh. Assume that it is 5 crore. Assume that it is 5 crore. Please tell whether GST audit is applicable only for Madhya Pradesh or for all the 3 states. Now, you please give the answer. Great. Everyone is clear, sir. Again, the aggregate turnover, we need to include all the turnover of Pan India. So if my aggregate turnover exceeding 5 crore, I have to conduct GST audit. For all the three state, answer is yes. So tell me last thing, that whether 9C will be filed, one 9C would be filed consolidated, or three separate 9C would be filed. Krishnamurthy ji and Hari Kiran ji, the three audit would be applicable. All the state are undergone for GST audit, not only MP. So my next question, one single 9C consolidated or separate three 9C, or separate three 9C, 9C for MP, 9C for UP, 9C for Delhi. 9 and 9C both I am asking. One 9C or three 9C? Sir, GSTR 9 and 9C is GSTIN wise. If you have the 3 GST number, it means 3, 9 and 9C had to be furnished. 3, 9 and 3, 9C had to be furnished separately. 3 GSTR 9, 3 GSTR 9C. Now we'll discuss how we can do the reconciliation of the consolidated audited financial statement, that we will talk about in respective chapter. Now, again repeating that sale of land and rental income is 20 lakh. So sale of land is non-GST supply or no supply, you can say. Non-GST supply or no supply, you can say. Can you say it is, should we say that the turnover of the sale of the land would be counted in the aggregate turnover? In my view, this sale of land, which is part of Schedule 3, are not included in the aggregate turnover. Because what is the aggregate turnover? Exempt, taxable, supply between distinct person, export. And exempt is nil rated, fully exempted by notification, or non-taxable. And what is the non-GST supply? Nil rated supply, non-taxable supplies, and no supply. It means exempt supply, which is including non-taxable supply, and non-taxable is 1 plus 5. It means Schedule 3 supply will not be counted in this. Therefore, in the calculation of aggregate turnover, sale of land would not be considered. Then I can say, if my aggregate turnover is only 20 lakhs, no GST or no GST audit is applicable, or no GSTR 9 and 9C is applicable. Now we are moving to the table wise discussion of the GSTR 9. We are moving to the table wise discussion of the GSTR 9. Sir, GSTR 9, starting with the table 4, table 5, table 4, table 5, it is coming under outward supply. Table 10 and table 11, it is again for outward supply. For outward supply, I can say there are the 4 table which we need to discuss. Our today agenda would be on table 4, table 5, table 10, table 11. 4 table, the details of outward supply. Tomorrow we will discuss the details of input tax credit, the table wise discussion of ITC. For the ITC, I can say there are table 6, 7, 8 and then table 12 and 13. 5 table. Table 4 and 5 for outward supplies. Table 10 and 11 for outward supplies. That we will complete today. And if the time permit, we'll start. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll discuss. What? Table related to ITC. 5 table, 6, 7, 8, 12 and 13. And there are 2 filled for the tax liability, table 9 and table 14. table 9 and table 14. And last part 5, table 15, table 16, table 17, table 18. All are optional. All are optional for the current financial year. What we are discussing? GSTR 9 and 9C for the 1920. We are discussing the GSTR 9 and 9C for the 1920. So these all 4 table are relaxed. Okay. And then last is the late fees payable and paid. Back to the table 4. So table 4, table 5, table 10, table 11 are details of the outward supply. How this has been structured? How this has been structured? If you are, this part we will discuss at a later on. Yes. See, if you are having the sale which is made during the financial year, then it will be reported in table 4 if it is tax payable. If it is exempted, table 5. Details of the sales made during the financial year. Details of the taxes, details of the sales made during the financial year. If sales on which tax is payable, table 4. If no tax is payable, like exempt supply, nil rated supplies, table 5. We are talking about financial year 1920. The financial year 1920 total turnover, either you have reported during the financial year from 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2019, or you have reported in the next financial year and within the specified time period. What is the specified time period? 1st April 2019, sorry, 2020. I will write here 2020. 1st April 2020 to 30th September 2020. If I have reported in this financial year, in the next financial year, but the sales pertaining to 1920, I will report in table number 10. If reversal is being there, then table number 11. Same for ITC. If ITC is pertaining during the financial year, table 6, table 7. If it has been taken or it has been reversed in the next financial year, table 13 and table 12. Effectively, I can say if during the financial year we are talking about, if the during the financial year we have disclosed the data, then for the outward supply, we will disclose in table 4 or we will disclose in table 5. For ITC, we will disclose in table 6, ITC taken, table 7, ITC reversed. And what about the next year? If we have the transaction of 1920 which has been reported in 2021 till September, then for outward supply, if sales has been added, then we will take in table 10. If sales has been reversed, we will take in the table 11. For ITC, we will take in table 13. If ITC taken till the extended time period in the next financial year, table 13, or if ITC reverse, then table 12. Rest to be sure, we are going each and every table wise discussion. First, this is the relaxation. We'll discuss on each and every table, along with each and every table. First, I'm discussing the table 4. Table 4 is again the sales. When you log into the portal and click on the GSTR 9 prepare online, what will happen? It will have the auto populated data. It will have the auto populated data. And what is the base? Base is the GSTR 1. base in the GSTR1. And you know that for outward supply, we are reporting in 3B as well as GSTR1. For ITC, we are having only one written, that is GSTR3B. Now, again, point to be discussed or point to be remember which table to be used for allocation of outward supply. Which return should be used for allocation of outward supply. In which table we need to enter the data, whether we should consider the GSTR1 or GSTR3B. What does it mean? Give one example. We'll give one example. For example, I have told you that in the table 4 or table 5, you will report the transaction of financial year 1920, which has been reported in GST returns in 1920 only. And table 10 and 11, what is the base? Sir, transaction of 1920, but which has been reported in 2021 till September. You are saying that reported in 1920 or reported in next financial year. Reported means what? Is it GSTR 3B or GSTR 1? Is it GSTR 3B or the GSTR 1? Department has, CBIC has clarified that the base would be when you paid the taxes. It means, in other words, I can say the GSTR 1 would be irrelevant for allocation of the data, table wise allocation. Explaining the same with example, assume that in the financial year 1920, I'm talking about the sales of the financial year 1920. In GSTR 1, you have reported in 1920 only. But you have not reported in 3B 1920, 2021 you have reported. Now my question, which table it will goes? Will it table 4 or table 10? I'm talking about the sales only. So that is the reason I'm writing on which tax is payable. I'm writing table 4 or table 10. So you might thinking that it should go table 4 because I have reported in the 1920. No, sir. Whether you are reporting in the same financial year or reported in the next financial year, the document which you should see, the return which you should see, that is GSTR 3B. It means GSTR 3B you have reported in the next year. Therefore, the transaction will form part of the table 10 of the GSTR 9. Another example. Sir, I have reported in the GSTR 1. I have not reported in the GSTR 1. Not yet. But in 3B, I have reported in 1920. Will it be form part of the GSTR 9? Definitely yes. If the sales is of 1920, it will always be the form part of the GSTR 9. Question, in which table? Whether in the table 4 or table 10? Answer is table 4. Reason, we have to see when it has been reported in GSTR 3B. Third example, suppose it has been reported in 1920. In the GSTR 1, it has been reported in 2021. But in the GSTR 3B, I have not yet reported. Question comes, in which table? Whether table 4 or table 10? Again, CBIC has clarified that if you have not paid the taxes till today, till time, if you have not paid the taxes, you have to report in the table 4. It means I can say that table 4 of the GSTR 9 will have the two type of the transaction. Sir, outward supply which has been reported in GSTR 3B in 1920 or not yet reported, which has been reported in 1923B or not yet reported. Second, in the table 10, we will disclose the data of 1920, which has been reported between April to September 20, next financial year in the 3B. again I can say that the data which is populated based on the GSTR1 would be ignored. Would be ignored. Ignore means for which, in which table you will report, because the GSTR1 is the details of outward supply, but the base would be 3B for allocation in the table, whether it will form part of the GSTR4 or table 10. GSTR4, whether it will form part of the GSTR9 table 4 or table 10. Let me quickly ask the question, give the reply. Same 4 question in different manner. You will give the reply so that your base would be strong. Sir, the transaction is of 1920. In the GSTR1, I have reported in 1920. In GSTR3B, I have reported in 1920. Please tell me in which table it will goes. Table 4 or table 10?